Hello, and welcome to the Banknote Den's presentation of The Many Faces of Money, where we take a look at the depictions of world banknotes and present them in short, informative, bite-sized videos. Today, we'll be taking a look at the Slovenian 50 Tolars banknote, issued between 1992 and 2005, featuring the scientist Jurij Vega. Before we get too far, a quick word about the country of Slovenia. Slovenia was formed in 1991 after the dissolution of Yugoslavia, originally formed in 1929. Before that, from 1918 to 1929, it was known as the Kingdom of the Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. Going further back, it was Austria-Hungary from 1867 to 1918, and even further back from 1804 to 1867, it was the Austrian Empire. But the furthest we'll go back is to the Habsburg Empire, which reigned from 1526 to 1804, the latter years being those in which Jurij Vega lived and died. How sure are you? Are you really sure? And are you sure enough to guarantee that you've not made any mistakes in your work? Well, Jurij Vega was. In fact, he was so sure of himself that he offered a gold ducat for each error someone could find in one of his mathematical books. Jurij Vega was actually born Georgius Bartholomew Vega on March 23, 1754. His father was a farmer who died in 1760 when Jurij was only 6 years old. One of 6 children, Jurij was an intelligent child who loved to read and to study. He left Zagorka at age 13 to attend the Jesuit school, where his studies centered on languages, including the classics of German, Latin, and Greek, as well as science, mathematics, and geography. At the age of 19, he completed his primary school. Due to Pope Clement XIV's disbanding of the Jesuit order, the school was closed, and Jurij continued his education at the state-run secondary school, where he received training in physics and in mechanical and hydraulic engineering. When he graduated, Jurij accepted a position as a navigational engineer, working on several rivers in Slovenia and Austria for the next 5 years. He spent this time on the rivers continuing to learn about physics and mathematics. Around this time, when he was in his 20s, he began using the German version of his name, Georg Freiherr von Vega. Jurij Vega left his position as a navigational engineer and entered the Austrian military in April 1780. He was assigned to an artillery unit when only 7 months later he had proven his abilities and was assigned to the military's artillery school in Vienna, Austria. While there, he wrote a 4-volume set of his lectures titled Lectures on Mathematics. While writing these volumes, he also wrote and published another work titled Logarithms, Trigonometry, and etc. for the use of mathematic formulas and tables, illustrated, intended to be an affordable and yet accurate workbook. He was so confident of the accuracy in this work that he promised a gold ducat for each error that could be found. While some, perhaps most, of us would possibly have to pay out a healthy sum for errors, especially in the days before computers and word processors, Vega reportedly only paid out 2 gold ducats for the errors that were found before it went to publication. 1787 was a big year for Vega. Now aged 33, he was promoted to full lieutenant and appointed as a professor. He also published yet another book, Practical Instructions on Bomb Throwing. This same year, he married Josefa Swoboda, the daughter of a Czech noble. Meanwhile, Austria signed a military pact with Russia, and soon after, the Turks declared war on Russia and attacked Austria in 1788. Vega volunteered to be assigned to combat service, where he could place his theories into practical use. Jurij was placed in charge of a heavy mortar unit, where his first action was seen during an attack on Belgrade. 3 weeks of fighting were intense, but Vega sat calmly and calculated the trajectories for his mortars. His ability to precisely place artillery was instrumental in the Austrians achieving victory over the Turks in this battle. During his time in the field, Vega continued his mathematical innovation, developing an algorithm which helped him to calculate pi out to 140 places. This calculation was not exceeded for another 50 years. The war lasted for 3 years, ending with the signing of the Sistova Treaty in 1791. Vega then returned to Vienna and continued his post at the military school. Jurij and Josefa Vega had a son, Henrik, later that year. In April 1792, France declared war on Austria in what would become known as the War of the First Coalition. This was an effort of the European countries trying to stop France, who had recently disposed of their monarchy, from spreading the revolutionary ideas beyond its borders. Vega again served in the field, but returned periodically to work in Vienna. He was promoted to the rank of major in 1793, and in the same year he and his wife Josefa had a daughter, Maria Theresa. During this time in Vienna, he published more works, including the Handbook of Logarithmic Trigonometry. In 1794, he published his monumental work, Thesaurus Logarithmorum Completus, a large table of logarithms. He also traveled to Göttingen, Germany, where he was inducted into the Royal Society of Sciences and Humanities. His publications of logarithms and trigonometry continue to prove to be of great importance, especially to the sciences and navigation and astronomy fields. They were published in several languages throughout the world. Vega continued to serve in the military, taking place in many battles and improving the artillery methods then in use. In February of 1796, he and Josefa had another son named Frank, and 3 months later, Vega was presented with a medal, the Knight's Cross of the Order of Maria Theresa, the most prestigious honor in the Austrian military. The wars continued until October 1797, when Vega again returned to Vienna, where he continued to publish several mathematical works, including his essay on the revelation of the mystery in the familiar theory of universal gravitation. In late August of 1800, Jurij Vega was awarded the title of Baron. But this was a bitter and lonely award because just 1 month earlier, two great tragedies struck Jurij Vega. In July, his wife, Josefa, passed away, followed only a mere 2 weeks later by his daughter, Maria Theresa. Newly titled as a baron, but without his wife and daughter, Vega continued to serve in the military and in 1802 was promoted to lieutenant colonel. In September of the same year, he was reported as missing, and a search for him found his body 9 days later on September 26, 1802, in the Danube River. An inquiry was made, and the ruling was death by accident, though there is some suspicion that his grief over his wife's and daughter's death led him to end his own life. Baron Jurij Vega has had honors bestowed upon him posthumously. A street in Vienna, Austria, and the lunar crater Vega have been named in his honor, as well as the asteroid 14966 Jurij Vega. He has also been commemorated on stamps, coins, and banknotes, including this 50 Tolar banknote issued in 1992. His birthplace still belongs to his descendants and was made into a museum where an exhibition of his life's works are on display. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. For more information on this and other world banknotes, remember to visit banknoteden.com.